In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint Ahsoka Tano, Jedi No More, and we're going to be following the fantastic concept art for Star Wars Shatterpoint. A big shout out to Asmodee UK for sending this out to me. Let's get painting. The first thing I've done is spray the model black and then spray it white from a 45-degree angle, a little bit like this, to get a zenithal prime, and that's going to make some contrast paint really effective in the next steps. The first thing we'll do is paint all the trousers and the boots. The colour we're using is Luxion Purple. Now this is a really nice rich purple colour, and just take your time with it. It doesn't matter if you get it over anything that's going to be metal later on, but try not to spill it over things like the skirt and the dress as well. Once that's dry, we'll take some Asurmen Blue contrast paint and use this on the main armour plates. So we've got those hip plates, and we've also got those van braces on the forearms as well, and around the back of Ahsoka's outfit too. Moving forward fairly swiftly, we'll now paint all of Ahsoka's dress, and the main colour we're going to use for this is Stormfiend. This is a really nice colour that's going to look fantastic over this zenithal prime. So just take your time with it, not getting it on any areas you've already painted, but as you can see, just put it onto the dress areas and it'll look fantastic once it's dried. Next up, we'll paint all of the metallic areas, and the colour we're going to use is dark aluminium from Vallejo metal colour. Now if you haven't got this, you can use lead belcher, it'll work absolutely fine. In terms of the areas we're looking for, this is all the armour plating that Ahsoka is wearing. Now for some of it you're going to need to be really careful as you're just going around outlines such as on the back of the skirt, and of course we're going to do those lightsaber hilts as well. To shade all of the metallics, we're going to use Tyran Blue, and this is going to give everything a nice blue hint, which fits in really nicely with the rest of Ahsoka's model. So take your time with this, make sure you work it into those recesses, and don't spill it on anything that you don't want to have this blue hue on. With that done, it's time to start highlighting up all of the silver, and the colour I'm going to use for this is Chrome from Vallejo Model Air. If you haven't got Chrome, you can use Storm Host Silver. This will work absolutely fine. And we're just really focusing those areas that are going to catch the most light. So make sure you haven't got too much paint on your brush, and you've got a really good tip as well. And you're just going to work it around those edges. Now where you've got a nice crisp edge on an armour panel, you can just drag the point of the brush along this, and this will give you a fantastically easy, crisp and sharp highlight. We'll paint all of that piping detail on Ahsoka's outfit next. So the colour we can use is Dawnstone, which is a medium grey colour. Make sure you've got a really good tip on your brush and just work your way around, being very careful not to spill it. Now this is slightly raised, so if you're feeling brave you can use the tip of the brush and just drag it along to get a nice crisp outline. Next we'll take some Ulthuan Grey, which is a nice bright grey, and we're going to use this in exactly the same way as the Dawnstone, but leaving that Dawnstone in the recesses. So we'll paint the majority of the piping with the Ulthuan Grey, but we do just want to take a lot of care to make sure that it's not uniform and that we have got some darker colours in those recesses. Finally, we'll take some bright white. Now I'm using bold titanium white. If you've got white scar, use that. And we're going to use this just on the most raised and sharp areas of all that piping. Once we've done that, we're also going to paint those lightsaber blades ready for some contrast paint later on. We need to add some highlights to this contrast paint just to make sure it really does pop. So the first thing we'll do is focus on the purple of the trousers and the boots. And the colour we're going to use first is Genestealer Purple. So we're just going to stipple this onto those most raised areas that are going to catch the most light. And this is really going to give us a nice effect. Finally, we'll take a little bit of Warpfiend Grey, which is lighter still, and again, make sure you haven't got too much on your brush and you've got a really good tip, and we're going to stipple this inside that Genestealer Purple from the last step. Just means we're going to dot the model rather than paint in strokes, and that's what stippling is. We'll add a little bit of a highlight to the main outfit of Ahsoka as well, and the colour we're going to use for this is Lothern Blue, which is a nice bright blue, and is really going to offset nicely against that Stormfiend. Now make sure you haven't got too much on your brush for this, and again we're just going to stipple a little bit along the most raised folds of the clothing just to help it stand out a little bit. Next up, we'll paint Ahsoka's skin. Now this is an orange colour, so the first thing we're going to do is start with Wild Rider Red. And we're going to paint this over all of the exposed skin, so we've got the arms and the hands. And don't forget, when it comes to Ahsoka's face, all of the white marking detail is sculpted on. So we really want to take our time on this part to make sure that we only get it where we want it and we don't cover up any of that detail. If you do, that's okay. You just take a little bit of white paint and paint them back in, and you may need to go a little bit of back and forth at this stage, but once you've got it down, it should be fine to move on. The first highlight that we'll do is with Trollslayer Orange. So we're looking to leave that Wild Rider Red in the recesses and focus the Trollslayer Orange on the areas that are going to catch the most light. So we're looking at the top of the arms and the most exposed part of the arms. And then when it comes to Ahsoka's face, her markings take up quite a bit of her forehead. So we're going to focus on things like the nose, the cheekbones, and also the chin and the side of her head that's going to catch the most light. The last main highlight will be with Fire Dragon Bright. We're looking to make this a little bit smaller and make sure we're painting it inside the Trollslayer Orange from the last stage. And we want to try and stipple this on as well, so when it dries it'll really blend in nicely. Again, when it comes to Ahsoka's face, we're going to focus on the cheekbones, the nose, the chin, and the top lip as well, because these are the areas that are going to catch the most light. The final highlight that we'll do on the flesh is optional, but I think it does help set it off. We're going to use a little bit of Ungor Flesh. Make sure this is quite thin down and you haven't got too much on your brush. And we're just going to dot this on the sharpest edges of the flesh. So things like the knuckles, the end of Ahsoka's nose, and a little bit on the sharpest part of the cheekbones. And now is a good time to paint those eyes if you want to. We'll paint Ahsoka's Leku next, and this is fairly straightforward, but you do need to have a steady hand, so just take your time with it. The first thing we're going to do is take some Leviadon Blue, and we're going to paint this onto all those areas that are blue. Now, if you're not sure which parts of the Leku are blue, then check the box art and check online. You can just do a search for Ahsoka Tano, and it'll show you how the white and blue pattern differentiates across the model. Once we finish with the Leviadon Blue, it's time to highlight it up a little bit. The first colour we're going to use is Alaitoc Blue, which is a nice desaturated blue, just slightly like that Leviadon Blue. And we're looking to just get this into those areas that are going to catch the most light. We're not worried about edge highlighting, we're just area highlighting here as we go. The final highlight we'll do on the blue of the Leku is going to be with Hoeth Blue. And again, this is really simple. We're just looking to make sure we get it inside that Alaitoc Blue of the last stage. Not worrying about edge highlighting, but just catching the areas that are going to grab the most light. Now, if you want to, another optional stage is you can paint Ahsoka's bottom lip. Now, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of Luxion Purple and mix this into the Wild Rider Red, so it is on the purple side, and we're just going to very gently paint this over that bottom lip. And this will just add a little bit more interest to the face area of the model. Next up, we'll finish up the white part of the Leku. Now, if you haven't already, take some Korax White and go in and paint over any mistakes or spillages that you've made with the Leviadon Blue. Once that's done, take a bright white. I'm using bold titanium white, and I'm going to make sure that I do very similar to how I did with the blue highlights. It's only catching the part of the Leku that's going to have the most light on it. So I'm not edge highlighting, I'm just area highlighting those bright parts. The last thing to do on Ahsoka are those lightsaber blades, and this is really simple and straightforward. The first thing we'll do is take some Pylar Glacier contrast paint. Now, this is a very, very light blue colour, and this is going to give you that nice soft blue lightsaber effect that you can see on the box art and the concept art. So paint that over there. Before it dries, just go around with the brush and make sure you mop up anything that might be settling and looks too blue, because you do want it to be really, really subtle. And there we have it. Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More is ready for the Star Wars Shatterpoint battlefield. I really hope you enjoyed this video, doing something a little different, following the concept art instead of the box art. Now, you're going to need some other models for her to play against. Make sure you check out this video here on how to paint Darth Maul. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.